Hey, we are now at Maple Heights at one of the properties we have purchased, and we want to talk to you today on a really practical thing and a recurring, frequently asked question. How do I choose an investment product? Let's say that you are already set up on an area, you decided you want to invest in the Metro Cleveland area, you made the research about the different cities, you understand the benefits of investing in the Maple Heights city and which kind of blocks or neighborhoods you want to be in. And now you're searching for investment opportunity and a particular specific deal comes up. So how do we identify the good deal or the better investment opportunity from the less better investment opportunity? Obviously there are the numbers that we can calculate, but there are the important elements, and Tom, this is what I want to talk with you today, important element that when we actually go and view the property, we want to make sure that we check it once so we understand what the product benefits are in terms of location, layout, and also to obviously, secondly, have a first grasp about the needs of repair. So can you talk a bit about when you first go to view a property, what are you looking for and what would make a property for you a thumb up, let's go, and what would make it say, this is a no-go?
All right, right from the start, we vet out location. So as Nir had mentioned, in Northeast Ohio, there's hundreds of cities and neighborhoods. And we obviously don't buy in all of them for various reasons, but we're able to vet, once a property becomes known to us, we're able to vet this out pretty quick if we're going to take the next step. And this is important, it's timely. These markets are very fluid, and there are other people besides us who are out looking for the right transactions. And what makes us, I think, a step ahead, and we've proven that, is that we're able to vet it out really quick and let the seller know we have interest, we're going to move to the next step. I get in my car, I drive out, I go see the product as soon as possible.
So first thing that you are actually saying is, okay, when we want to vet out the better opportunities than the let's say ones that are less, the first thing that is important is the response time, because we are acting in an active market. There are other people who knows to identify the deals, and we want to provide the response quick, and we are set up to provide an output to the buyer quickly. So first thing is the response time once we have an opportunity in our hands to respond to it quickly. Okay, so we've done that, and now you are reaching physically to the let's say to the street. And let's start from the streets before we are inside the property. What are the things you would look at specifically at the streets and the surrounding area to the subject property?
Well, having lived in this location almost all my life, and certainly all my adult life. Kathleen Bassett is the owner of Shoreway. She too, we're actually in different parts of Northeast Ohio. She tends to be more west, I tend to be more east. We both know the south. So we know the areas we want to be in. The next question is, now I'm driving through it, how do these areas look today than they did 20 years ago or 30 years ago? I'm getting old. But when I was in high school and playing ball and hanging out with these people, how do they look? And you can see the street. This is a beautiful colonial, but this is not the only colonial. This one's a colonial, that one's a colonial, that one's a colonial. It looks like there's a great mixture of what's owner-occupied and what's rental, and I could tell that by the upkeep of the home. I could tell that about the roofs, I could tell about the landscaping, I can tell about the driveways, the siding, and I could see just how well this is kept. You can hear it, it's very quiet. Other than some neighborhood traffic that goes through, this is very quiet. A family wants to be on a quiet street like this with a beautiful yard. So we're now feeling pretty good about it. Now, mind you, I probably see 10 to 12, maybe 15 homes before we like one of them, for all the reasons we want to be involved in. And in this particular one, I could see, I had the vision that if I could clean up the outside of this, you'll see this landscaping, beautiful.
So Tom, before we get into the property, I want to sum up some important observation that you've said. First off, when we go to a property, and obviously we are from experience, first of all, I recommend for any investor, think leverage the connection. That's basically what we are doing with people that are local to the area. They know the area. That's a big plus working with people that already know the area, because you're not coming from nothing or from black. You have some kind of familiarity, like not blank. You have some kind of familiarity with the area. And secondly, the thing that we basically want to understand, like we can get an impression like, okay, it's a quiet street, it's a quiet street or not. We can get from the online information roughly what it is, and we can feel it when we are in the area. But basically the thing that you've mentioned, which is to try and evaluate, is this kind of an owner-occupied area or a rental area, it's very important to the value of the property and the kind of tenant quality you can attract to it. And this is something we can understand even before we step into the inside to the property.
Correct. Now we talked about our relationship with these various cities and city governments and their inspection services. That's about the property as it looks today, and it's about what's going to help us with connection with the city, make sure that this maintains the beauty and the value of the asset through years to come. No matter how long you hold it, also allows us to increase rents as the years go on. You get pricing power. So I guess the last thing I'll say, and maybe I'm getting off here, is it also depends how the property is coming to us to evaluate. If it's the MLS listing, or if it's an off-market, a private listing, either from our private clients or through one of our connections here in the city. But yes, we consider ourselves specialists. We know the area, we know it well, we make sure we know it well. So when you come to us, we look for the best possible outcome.
Good. So if I'm now getting the focus on the process of first viewing the property, and basically we are talking about three elements, which is the location, the layout, and the condition. So we were talking about knowing the location. We talked about the layout, and you can already have the information about the location and layout. Before you have the first step inside the property, you can already have a good grasp about that. And now we want to talk about the third element, which is the condition of the property. And Tom, can you start and walk us through, first of all, why we are doing it? It's because we want to evaluate how much we need to put into the property to get it to the, let's say, the grade we want it to be. So can you walk us through what you will be looking on the condition-wise when you start looking from the outside of the property and then inside the property?
Okay, I call it belt and suspenders. Belt and suspenders. We're overly cautious. We may or may not have at this point a city inspection report. Now comes my report. Now I have to go through this property, and I do my best with my eyes to overlook everything from the roof down to the driveway before I even go inside. Make sure the neighborhood looks the way it does. First thing I'm going to do, again, I take my notes and I go top down, condition of the roof. I try to age it out. How much life is left, how much not. What kind of siding? Is it wood siding? Is it aluminum siding, vinyl siding? Is it brick? Is it a ranch? Is it a colonial? Am I going to get the rents I want from this neighborhood to make this transaction work?
And that depends on the grade that you have the property. And I think this is where experience comes from. Okay, we are working in this area. We know what kind of grade we are putting into our property, so we know what kind of a rental amount we can get for our products. And this is where variation can be maybe confusing for buyers. That's frequently asked questions that I'm getting here. How can I know what is going to be the rental amount for my property? And sometimes you will see like a colonial property in the same street, same size, rough about 6 square feet, and one is renting or is for rent for $1,200 and the other one $1,125. Why? So this is where, and it can be, the light differences. When you have a property with a higher finish grade and a property that is a really low finish grade, it can definitely be the difference in the rental price point. By the way, it's not just the rental price point, it can also be the quality of the tenant, and that's important.
And how fast we can put one in.
And how fast we can put it. So all of these factors, when we first, and I think it's very important to mention to you planning-wise, when you first going to see a property, all of these parameters are something that can be firstly evaluated and populated into like your spreadsheet, your calculation tool, and this is how you start planning and vetting out properties from the ones you want to proceed with and the ones you put out. And as Tom mentioned, like we are vetting tens of properties like this process until we get the first property, this one property to you out. When I send you my like pro forma, hey, here is a property that I identified and has finished our first process screening. We are already past all of this work before you even get the property to view it at first.
We're in this process long term. We don't reinvent the wheel every property we go to. We know it works. We know it happens. We also are a property manager for the owners. We don't want a product that's going to cause us problems down the road, year 2, year 3, year 4. We capture the needs up front. Hopefully we minimize the ongoing needs going on when the tenant gets there. Should be seamless to you. Our best tenant is one that we don't hear about for the most part. They take care of the property. They give us the good income that we deserve. And by the way, there are many different ways that you could look at what rents are going to be. There are third-party online references, but we are a property management company. We buy in the cities that we're presenting to you. We know what we're getting for rents. We know if you have an air conditioner, you pay for a new one. If it doesn't, you have it installed, you're going to get 125, 150 more a month. It will pay for itself, and you'll get a better tenant faster. So these are one of the items you're talking about.
One of the frequently asked questions, it's another one that we get from many investors, is, hey, should I buy a turnkey product? Or in a different manner, why would I buy a property and then renovate it to get a tenant? I can get an immediate stream of income. Yeah. So I think what we can learn here, when you buy a turnkey product and the seller is not like a property management, it doesn't have an interest in the ongoing management of the product, then sometimes the seller might minimize the total investment costs. And Tom, I think you mentioned something very important. In our planning, we are not looking to minimize total investment cost. We are looking to optimize total investment cost, meaning that we are basically looking to minimize the ongoing cost. We don't want you to be in a position that you say, hey, I have another investment opportunity in like $10,000 or $5,000 less, here it's more, but look at your capex, look at your systems, look at your ongoing expenses. These are all things that we put in mind because our mission is aligning expectations. We are going to be in contact through the years of the ongoing rental period, and we want to align expectations as much as possible regarding the expected cost, the expected ongoing cost, and minimize those. And this is the optimization that we are looking for in our activity.
And a lot of our buyers don't just buy one, they buy multiple ones. We want that same great experience from property to property. We can't be 100%, but we will tell you, we will be proactive if there is an issue, when there's an issue, to get it resolved and move on from it. You will be able to communicate with us right from the start, right where we are, all the way through the process, tenant in place. I don't leave this process until the tenant's in place. Even after that, and Nir will tell you, sometimes if there is something that happens, property management comes to me, looks at the scope of work, was that done at the time we renovated the property? It's always easier to renovate a property when it's vacant because you don't have scheduling needs with tenants, and you don't have to move around, and you don't have to move their furniture or whatever it might be. So we try to get them, we understand the income up front, but not at the expense of a less return towards the end. So that's why we appreciate and want to explain what the process is. Yeah. So you're comfortable.
So obviously in our series of videos, we really welcome you to subscribe to our channel and understand our entire process. We're working in mind like with the end-to-end process. Please write us here any comments, questions. We would love to have this some kind of a dialogue. And thank you for joining us, and good luck in your investments.
Thanks for your time.